plains and deserts. Location, Pilot Hill, Tucson, Arizona. The drive to Tucson. The hum of Sunny's engine filled the cab as Brianna maneuvered the 30-foot bus along Interstate 10, heading southwest from Albuquerque. The desert stretched endlessly on either side, its golden hues shimmering under the midday sun. Mia sat in the passenger seat Jake had installed, clutching her stuffed rabbit, Mr. Floppy. "Are we almost there?" Mia asked, her voice laced with impatience. "Almost," Brianna said, her hands tightening on the wheel as they passed a semi-truck. She was still getting used to the size of the bus, especially on the highway. "Sunny feels big today," Brianna muttered. Mia giggled. "She's always big, Mom. You just have to steer her like a boss." Brianna smiled despite herself. "You've got that right, kiddo." Passing the aircraft graveyard. As they neared their campsite at Pilot Hill, they drove past the sprawling aircraft graveyard on the outskirts of Tucson. Hundreds of planes, in various states of disrepair, were lined up in neat rows, their metallic bodies reflecting the harsh Arizona sun. "Whoa, it's like a plane museum," Mia said, pressing her nose to the window. "Kind of," Brianna said, slowing down so Mia could get a better look. "This is where planes go when they're too old to fly. They take them apart and use the pieces to fix other planes." Mia wrinkled her nose. "That's kind of sad, like a plane junkyard." "Maybe," Brianna said, "but it's also about reusing what we can. Some parts might help other planes fly again." Mia thought about this as they drove on, her eyes lingering on the rows of aircraft until they were out of sight. Dinner at sunset. At the campsite, Brianna was relieved to find that the area had plenty of space for Sunny. The flat terrain made parking easy, a welcome change from their last stop. As the evening approached, the desert sky turned a kaleidoscope of colors, pinks, oranges, and purples blending into one another. Brianna set up their folding table outside Sunny, while Mia gathered rocks to make a pretend runway nearby. They dined on simple sandwiches, their laughter echoing in the stillness. "Do you think we'll ever go to Paris?" Mia asked suddenly, looking up at her mom. "Maybe someday," Brianna said. "For now, we've got all of this to explore." Mia smiled and pointed toward the horizon. "Then I'll name our next destination Adventureland." Brianna laughed. "That's as good a name as any." Lessons from the cooler. After dinner, Mia pleaded to set up the portable evaporative cooler. It wasn't particularly hot. Desert nights cooled off quickly, but Mia was fascinated by how the device could make the air feel refreshing. "Just for a little while," Brianna said reluctantly, pouring 5 gallons of water into the cooler. Mia grinned as the fan kicked on, directing a breeze of cool air into Sunny's small living area. "It's like magic," Brianna chuckled. "Magic that drinks water like a thirsty horse." Within a couple of hours, the water tank was empty, leaving a significant dent in their supply. Brianna frowned at the jugs, now noticeably lighter. "We're going to have to be more careful," Brianna said, jotting a new Sunny rule in their notebook. "Only use the cooler if it's absolutely necessary, or if we have endless water." Mia nodded solemnly. "Lesson learned. No water. No magic." Brianna hugged her. "Exactly. Now we know." Stargazing without the roof deck. Mia had wanted a roof deck for stargazing, but after Brianna discovered that insurance wouldn't cover the bus if it had a deck or a fireplace, the plan had been scrapped. While it seemed like a nice addition, Brianna knew she would have constantly worried about Mia's safety on it. Plus, with 1,200 watts of solar panels taking up most of Sunny's roof space, there wouldn't have been much room for a functional deck anyway, and it likely wouldn't get much use. Instead, they spread out a blanket next to the bus, lying side by side to take in the vast desert sky. "What's that bright one?" Mia asked, pointing upward. "That's Venus," Brianna said, consulting her stargazing app. "It's called the evening star because you can usually see it right after sunset." Mia tilted her head thoughtfully. "It looks like a flashlight in space." "It's actually a planet," Brianna explained. "Venus doesn't make its own light. It reflects the sun's light, like a mirror. Mia's face lit up. It's like Sunny. She reflects all our adventures. Brianna laughed. That's a perfect comparison. They spent the rest of the evening identifying constellations, imagining what the planes resting in the graveyard might have seen from the skies above. Onward to Saddle Mountain. The next morning, as they packed up, Mia spotted a small, flat rock by the campsite. She picked it up and turned it over in her hand, then rummaged through her art supplies. "What are you doing?" Brianna asked, watching Mia pull out a marker. "I'm making a memory rock," Mia explained as she began to draw a tiny airplane on the stone. Beneath it, she wrote a single word: planes. "When we go to a cool place, I'm going to make one," Mia continued. "Then I can remember it later." Brianna smiled. "I love that, kiddo. We'll have a whole collection by the time we're done." After stashing the rock in her bag, Mia climbed into her passenger seat. "Ready to hit the road?" Brianna asked. "Ready. Saddle up for Saddle Mountain," Mia replied. With a smile, Brianna started Sunny's engine, the familiar hum filling the cab. As they pulled onto the highway, she felt a growing sense of confidence. 1 mile at a time, she was starting to feel at home behind the wheel of their big yellow adventure.